of us at the Wyoming Symphony are in full gear preparing for our 62nd concert season. And so I thought I'd take this opportunity to share with you some things you can expect, give you a little sneak peek, if you will, at what you can expect to see and hear with the Wyoming Symphony this season. We'll begin on October 1st with a concert we're calling Romantic Greats. Now, the reason we're calling it that is because all three of the works that are featured on this program are works from the Romantic period by three of our greatest Romantic composers. We'll begin in exuberant fashion with Mikhail Glinka's Ruslan and Ludmilla Overture. I'm sure you know this piece, but if you don't, it is a frenetic frenzy of rapid, excited movement. It's a great way to start a season. This is a fun piece that you'll see the strings in particular playing faster than you ever thought you could see strings play. And it really will set the mood, an excited mood for an exciting season of music. Next up on the program, we will bring back to you an artist that has performed with us before, pianist Spencer Meyer, who was the gold medalist from the 2008 New Orleans piano competition. Spencer, you may recall, appeared with me on my first program as music director in September 2008, performing Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto. He was a great success in Casper, and there was no doubt, as soon as we finished that concert, there was no doubt in my mind that I would have him back. And we found the perfect piece for him to play, so we're bringing him back, and that piece that he will perform is the Second Piano Concerto by Camille Saint-Saëns. This piece has everything you want to hear in a piano concerto. It's virtuosic, it's beautiful, there's a lot of excitement in it, both from the pianist and the orchestra, and it's a perfect piece for an artist of Spencer's caliber. Spencer's special in this business. I would say the way to describe him best is to say he's special. His talent is special, and I know that you will love his performing, so you don't want to miss him. After the intermission, we'll come back with one of the greatest works that's ever been written in the symphonic repertoire, Tchaikovsky's Sixth Symphony, better known as the Pathétique. This was his crowning achievement, and he knew it. He was quoted as saying, "I love it more than I have ever loved any of my other musical creations." This is a very special piece. It's in 4 movements like all symphonies, but this one, unlike most, we expect in Tchaikovsky the big flashy ending, the big finale, the big exciting moment where we all jump out of our seats. And that does happen, but interestingly enough, it happens at the end of the 3rd movement. The 4th movement ends very quietly. This piece is about life and death, and reflecting upon life as one's dying, both the triumphs and tragedies of life, and it is a brilliant piece of music, and I know you're going to enjoy joining us on October 1st for Romantic Greats. Next up will be our annual holiday program, this year on December 3rd. You'll notice this year something different from in past years in that we're not doing a Sunday matinee this year, we're performing on Saturday evening. But I assure you it's been designed still as a family-friendly show, so please bring the kids and the grandkids for this special performance. This year's theme, Holiday on Broadway. And the reason for that is we're bringing in Tony Award-winning actress Debbie Gravitt. Debbie is a magnificent entertainer, a great singer, great performer, and she's well known in Broadway, the Broadway circles, having performed in Les Miserables and Zorba and so many other shows. But she won the Tony for Best Featured Actress in a Musical for a Jerome Robbins Broadway. Debbie and I have worked together many times, and I assure you she is the best. You're going to love her. She puts on a great show. And together we've designed a program we know you're going to love. On it, there'll be songs like We Need a Little Christmas, and it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And we'll also be doing music from a Charlie Brown Christmas, and so much more. In fact, for this special occasion, because Debbie's coming to Casper, I asked her if we could take a brief period of the program to depart from the holiday theme and do some of her Broadway tunes that she's very famous for. So we're going to do a little Broadway gifts section, very short, which will include her singing Defying Gravity from the musical Wicked and Memory from the musical Cats. And you haven't heard Memory done like Debbie does it, so you don't want to miss this wonderful program, which may also include me doing a little tap dancing. Those of you who've seen it before know what I'm talking about. So join us on December 3rd for Holiday on Broadway. Next, on January 21st, our annual chamber orchestra concert, which this year we're calling Symphonia Concertante. It'll begin with Edvard Grieg's Holberg Suite, which is a beautiful short suite in 4 movements that's sort of his romantic tribute to a Baroque style of writing. This piece is filled with bursts of romantic vitality, and very delicate treatment of folk melodies, which were very important to Grieg, and I'm quite sure you'll love this piece. Following that, we'll present one of the most beautiful love songs ever written, Wagner's Siegfried Idyll. This piece was written by Wagner as a gift for his wife Cosima for her birthday, which was on Christmas Day, 1870. And it's got one of the greatest stories of all classical music behind it. Wagner, on Christmas Day, engaged a small orchestra of 17 musicians and snuck them into the house and lined them up along the big spiral staircase in their house and woke Cosima up with this extraordinarily beautiful music. And she loved it so much that they played it again several times throughout the day. So this is a great one to bring your significant other to hear because it is really one of the most beautiful pieces in our repertoire. After intermission, we'll present two soloists, violinist Carrie Krauss and violist Karina Fox. Both Carrie and Karina are known throughout the United States and in Europe as Baroque specialists or early music specialists, performing all over the world with a very famous Baroque group called Apollo's Fire, as well as several other early music groups. They are very special talents, and I know you're going to love their playing, but even more so, you're going to love this piece by Mozart, which is called Sinfonia Concertante. This is probably one of the most beautiful pieces that Mozart ever wrote. In fact, my teacher, Gustav Meyer, who is a Mozart specialist, said to me once, "Yeah, Matthew, even for Mozart, this piece is special." So I know you're going to love this very intimate program of chamber music from our orchestra on January 21st. Next up, on March 17th, we'll present a concert called Eroica. This concert will feature two great works from the repertoire. The first by composer Ernest Bloch. Now, many of you may not be familiar with that name. Ernest Bloch was born in 1880 in Geneva and died in 1959 in Portland, Oregon, and wrote many tremendous works of sort of a late romantic style. The piece we'll be doing for you is called the Concerto Grosso No. 1, and it calls for strings and piano. This is not a piano concerto. The piano part is actually an obbligato part. It's part of the orchestra. And so you'll see the piano actually behind the strings in this concert rather than in front like with a concerto soloist. There are 4 movements to this work. It's very exciting, full sound from the strings. And there's one really fun movement with a lot of rustic dances from Switzerland that obviously Bloch must have heard as a young boy in Switzerland. There's a beautiful pastoral movement. This is a real treat for us to play. And it'll feature our own pianist. After the intermission, you'll hear probably the greatest and most important work ever written, Beethoven's Third Symphony, better known as Eroica. This piece broke every rule, crashed every shell, broke through every wall, and changed music forever. In fact, it was this piece that began the strong movement towards the Romantic period. Of it, Beethoven said, "I'm not satisfied with my work to the present, therefore from today on I must take a new road." And he literally did. He changed everything about music and really expanded our vision of what music could achieve with this extraordinary work. This work was written, first work really to be titled, to give it sort of, to have a programmatic element to it. Up until this point in the classical period, music was what we call absolute music, which meant by and large instrumental music was written as a series of notes and harmonies and melodies that are pleasing together, but that did not necessarily tell a story. Programmatic music tells a story, and Eroica is kind of in between. It's not telling a story fully, but it has some. It is inspired by an extra musical idea, a heroic idea. Remember, during this time, there was a great movement in Europe with the French Revolution and this idea of liberty. And that really excited Beethoven. And so originally he actually dedicated this work to Napoleon when he still thought Napoleon was a great leader. But before the work was premiered, he found out more about what Napoleon was really doing, and he ripped up the dedication. But nonetheless was inspired by the idea of a heroic figure that inspires us all. This movement has an incredible funeral march in the second movement of this piece. This is just really a special work. I'm sure you've all heard it at one point or another in your life, but to hear it live reminds us of the great ingenuity of our greatest composer, Beethoven. For the grand finale of our 62nd concert season, we'll perform on April 14th a concert we're calling From Russia with Love. We'll begin with Tchaikovsky's Polonaise from his opera Eugene Onegin. A Polonaise is a Polish national dance of stately and festive fashion, and so this really opens the program in a stately and festive manner. Following that, I'll introduce you to a violinist named Alexander Markov. Alex is one of the most extraordinary talents I've ever encountered in my career, and we've worked together now off and on for the last 17 years. Alex won the Paganini International Violin Competition when he was 16 years old, and you can find his videos on YouTube, by the way, if you'd like to see him doing what he does most impressively, which are the capricces of Paganini. Alex and I have performed together many times in the United States and in Turkey, and I can tell you this is a performer like very few others. He will rock your world, if you pardon the expression. He'll be performing the famous Mendelssohn Violin Concerto that everybody knows, and it's a great showcase for somebody like Alex. After the intermission, we'll conclude the season with one of my favorite pieces, the Fifth Symphony by Dmitri Shostakovich. This is a piece that's also about heroism, and it has one of the most heroic, exciting endings you've ever heard in anything in symphonic music. A lot of us think of Shostakovich and the music he wrote later on in his career, which is a little more, how do we say, esoteric. But this is a piece that was an instant hit in Russia, or in the Soviet Union at the time, and then has been pretty much an instant hit everywhere else. You're going to love this piece. It's very special, and it is a fantastic showcase for, in particular, our brass section, as well as the whole orchestra. But it's even more fantastic way to end the season. So join us, please, for the 62nd concert season of the Wyoming Symphony. For more information, you can visit us online at wyomingsymphony.org. Thank you.